What's up, guys? I hope everybody's having a great start to their week. I just finished up work and it is time for me to go wash my car. It's been a while since I washed the car. I honestly couldn't even tell you when the last time I did, but it's long overdue, and I figure while I'm washing the car, since I've had a bit of questions about the modifications and whatnot that I've done to the turbo car, excuse me, I figure I'll go through everything that I've done with the car to get everything I've done with the car to get it to the point where it is now. So first I'm going to talk about the car a little bit, and then from there I will transition into talking about grassroots drifting and how enjoyable it has been for me over the past 5 years. So this car has been through probably 3 or 4 transformations. Now, when I say this car, I mean my drift car. This is actually the 3rd chassis that I've used as a drift car, but this drivetrain, I have had this drivetrain and all of the modifications on this car since I started drifting on all of my cars. So I started and I had it was a 93 325i, but instead of a sedan like I currently have, I started with a coupe. Now, that was the car that I learned to drift on. That was the car where I made a bunch of mistakes modifying it and ended up basically building a car twice to get it to where I wanted the car to be. And once the car was where I wanted it to be, I then added power. It got a welded diff, it got a hydraulic handbrake with dual caliper adapters, it's got a M3 ZF transmission, and it's got an IRP shifter. As far as the motor goes, it's a stock M50 bottom end, and it is a ARP head studs with a decomp plate. So it's a super simple build. It runs 10 psi, 80-pound injectors, and it makes, I want to say, a little over 300 at the wheels, which is plenty. Before I scratch the hell out of my paint with the brush, I just want to show you that my paint is not good. You can see through the salt, there's no clear here, there's no clear here, and it's all scratched up as it is. So no, I'm not worried that the brush is going to hurt my paint. The car needs a paint job as it is. I plan on painting the car this spring. However, I'm also building a Merkur XR4 Ti with my friend that helped me do the turbo kit on this car. The Merkur will have first priority, and if the drift season begins before the Merkur's done, I'll have to wait for a gap in events to paint the e36 because I'm going to be driving it. But as I was saying before I got to the car wash, the power is good. It does everything I need it to do. It's on an EMU black, and it was tuned on a dyno after we finished the build with a smaller eBay turbo. It made 310 at the wheels. but I've since upgraded to the Twisted Motion 3076R, which is a Garrett style turbo, and I haven't been back on the dyno yet, but other cars with the same turbo and similar mods and boost levels dyno excuse me, anywhere from 360 to 380. So I would imagine with my super rich conservative tune that mine makes anywhere from 320 to 340, because I know that there's definitely power left on the table. I run a sprung 6-puck stage 4 clutch from eBay. It's lasted me the past 3 years, and I haven't noticed any signs of failure, no slipping or anything yet. I use a super simple angle kit that can be replaced with OEM parts if needed at the track in a bind. It consists of a Z3 rack, stock tie rods, and uses a cut knuckle that I had cut and modified by Cody Collins. I also use an e36 arm, which a lot of people complain about the e46 arm because it's wider than the e36 arm, so you can run into binding issues with the tie rod or the wheel hitting it, but I don't really have any of those issues because I run a 215/45 tire on a 17x8 wheel, where the offset with spacers works out to about -5. Also, the knuckle from Cody has been developed over the past, I don't know, he's been doing this for years and years and years and years. So if he told me that it would be okay, I trust him that it's okay, and it has been okay as I've been running it. Sticking to the topic of suspension, I run ISC N1 coilovers. When I purchased them, I had them valved for racing. I didn't do any spring upgrade. They're just whatever springs come with the ISC coils for an E36 coupe, and I did get them with camber plates. I also run rear camber arms that I just got from eBay. They're cheap. I haven't had any issues with them. The only problem that I did have was when I put my entire car into the wall, I bent one of the brackets. The bracket has actually since been straightened, re-welded, and is now just a spare. The differential, rear subframe, along with the motor are all solid mounted, while I use rubber for the trans to allow for some movement in the driveline to reduce stress. A few things have changed over the years in all the different chassis, but I definitely like this one the most. I started in a stock power coupe with a 391 welded diff and an eBay handbrake, and this setup made me fall in love with drifting. I daily drove it and drifted it, but daily driving a coupe with a fixed back bucket seat meant my already small back seats became almost useless. I made it work, but it was rough. I turboed the motor when it was in the coupe, but unfortunately I drifted it into a wall, and with front and rear damage, it was beyond repair. Luckily, Orion from Night Shift Auto Lab reached out to me, and he gave me a shell. This time, it was a sedan. That meant I couldn't use any of my coupe interior that I had, and this sedan was completely stripped, but I had everything that I needed to make it drive. Now, I'm not going to complain about it. It was a free chassis, but it was a rust bucket. It had holes in the floors, but it was good enough to drift with. I ended up painting it twice over the course of 2 years, and I learned to love the sedan life. But I started to hate the fact that I didn't have any interior. Not to mention, I rear-ended somebody on the highway with that car, and it also had a few casualties on the track as well. So naturally, I did what any sane person would do, and I bought this black sedan from our buddy Jordan. After parting out the drivetrain and everything that I didn't need, I was left with a fairly rust-free, full black interior shell ready to accept my drift drivetrain. So that's how it sits now. Full black interior, stock seats, stock wheel, simple gauges, simple hidden handbrake setup, nice shifter, and a good sound system. I put a Halo bucket seat in it for drift events, but most of the time I just enjoy it on the street with its stock feeling interior and turbo noises. I guess you can say I'm getting old, but I just love a 90s BMW interior. You may be sitting there thinking to yourself, well, Zach, if you love drifting so much, why don't you build a car with a cage and go all out and do competitions and all that stuff? And that's where I'm going to transition into the second part of this video, where I talk about how great the grassroots drifting community is. Now, don't get me wrong, I love competition. I'm a very competitive person, and I kind of feel like that is what steers me away from doing any sort of competitive drifting, and it is what keeps me towards grassroots. At every grassroots event that I've been to, it's always just about having fun. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what car you're driving. It doesn't matter if you're just a spectator. It doesn't matter. We all are just there to enjoy the cars and enjoy the drifting and have a good time and burn some tires. And that's really what I love. I honestly don't have anything negative to say about any of the drift organizations in the Northeast. They're all great, and you should check every single one of them out. But that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed the little deep dive into my car and my little spiel about grassroots drifting. I'll catch you guys next time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Have a good night.